Well, hey there, friends, and welcome to the Raising Amazing Tween Girls show, where we love tween girls and the mamas who are raising them. I'm Lisa Tony with Girl Tribe Nation, and I'm so very glad that you are joining me today. Girl Tribe Nation is committed to raising a generation of tween girls to be smart, healthy, brave, and live with a whole lot more happy in their lives. Today's episode is sponsored by Growing Up Girl, the online puberty class for tween girls by Girl Tribe Nation. If you are looking for an online class that teaches all the things about growing up girl, including puberty, body changes, and basic reproduction, then this is the class that you have been looking for. It is age appropriate for tween girls ages 9 through 12 and has sessions on understanding puberty, hair care, skin care, and nail care through puberty, growing breasts and bras, getting your period care, and basic reproduction. If you are looking for something that takes a protective approach and encourages delayed sexuality rather than the experimental and active sexuality approach that most puberty curriculum encourages today, then this online course is just what you are looking for. We encourage tweens and their moms to watch it together and include 6 amazing mother-daughter great dates that go along with the curriculum to talk about all the things together. You can check it out at girltribenation.com/growingupgirl. Well, today, friends, we are talking about something that is needed today in our tween girls more than ever. We are talking about courage. That seemingly magical, mystical ingredient that is so elusive when you need it most. Where do you find it? How do you get it? And why do our tween girls need it? Well, courage is the secret sauce that allows you to do hard things. It allows you to rise up and begin something. It is that X factor that is needed to act in spite of your fears. Courage is what gives your daughter the ability to put aside her fear of failure and do it anyway. Courage is what allows your daughter to take steps forward. Courage is what allows your daughter to overcome her doubts and activate her brave. So how do we mamas help our daughters develop and live with more courage? It's a good question and one that we are going to dive into today. When we lean into our fears and we let them lead, we rob ourselves of living with courage. Best-selling author Stephen King has learned the art of playing with fear and what it does to people. He says this: "The scariest moment is always just before you start. After that, things only get better." It's true, isn't it? Getting up the gumption to try something new is the hardest part. It's hard for us, and it's hard for our tween girls. Courage is something we all want, but something so few of us have. Now, courage, it doesn't happen by accident, and definitely not when you are just living on autopilot. Courage is the result of intentional choices. Courage comes from intentionally living out your values through your actions on a daily basis. C.S. Lewis said, "Courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point." Sometimes it's easy for us to confuse courage and confidence. You see, we spend a lot of time to gain more confidence. We wait to feel confident before we take action. And here's the problem with this approach. Confidence is the result or the outcome of doing something. You gain confidence by practicing something over and over again. Now, I've just started learning how to paint ocean scenes. I'm in love with this new acrylic technique that my cousin just taught me, but she's way better at it than I am because she's been practicing for 2 years. The only way I am going to gain confidence in my painting ability is by practicing. But if I waited to feel more confident in my painting ability before I took action, I never would have started. Confidence only comes when we try and succeed, or we try and we fail. and then we try again, and we learn how to get it right. But this is different from courage. Courage is what kickstarts us in the process. Courage is what tells me that I can pick up my paints and go for it. Courage gets you to the start line, ready to run. Courage puts you in motion. Courage allows you to initiate action. You know, sometimes we just get paralyzed waiting for more confidence to do something, but really, we're waiting for the wrong thing. We are never going to feel more confident until we take action. In order to start something, we need courage, not confidence. Now, I grew up in Michigan on a little inland lake called Higgins Lake. It was vacation land, USA. Lots of pine trees, freshwater lakes, and sandy beaches. Some days I wonder why I left, but then I remember that Michigan really has only 2 seasons, July and winter. That's why I live in Southern California now, where we have a whole lot more of Michigan July year around. But honestly, Michigan was a wonderful place for me to grow up. One of the things my dad taught me how to do was sail these little sailboats, these sunfish sailboats at an early age. Now, it was a lot of fun, but he really made sure we knew what we were doing. He taught me how to tie sailor knots and made sure I knew all the proper sailor speak for the different parts of the boat. And we always had to wear our life jackets. Even though I became a certified lifeguard, water safety was a big deal. I mean, my dad knew how quickly people could get in trouble out on the water. Now, he would even flip our sailboat on purpose to teach me to not be afraid when it happened to me by myself. He equipped me with what I needed to know to have confidence to right a boat after it had capsized. Now, I love sailing. There is nothing like it for me. The wind blowing, the waves lapping against the boat, the sun on your face and the smell of the water, you're skimming across the water. To me, it feels like flying. I adore it. Now, when I was in high school, I was out on a sail with my dad. It was a glorious day. It was pretty windy, and you had to know what you were doing to be out on the water because the wind was powerful. Growing up on this small Michigan lake meant that I had seen all kinds of people out on the water that really did not know what they were doing. But on this particular windy day, after we had gotten out near the middle of the lake, we noticed a sailboat out there that looked like it was kind of in trouble. The sails were kind of flopping around and they weren't really working with the wind, and the boat was kind of spinning. So I asked my dad, should I swim over there and help them? And my dad said, no, let's just watch them for a little while and see if they can figure out what they need to do. Well, we circled by them a bit, and finally they completely just flipped over their boat into the water, tipped over. And 2 people that were in the boat went into the water, and neither one of them had a life jacket on. And my dad finally said, okay, go ahead. I'll keep the boat here and you swim over and you can help them. So my dad kept sailing our boat kind of in circles, and I dove off the boat. Guys, this was my Baywatch moment. I dove into the water and I swam to the rescue. I'm pretty sure I could see David Hasselhoff running along the shore, but I got there before the Hoff. And when I got there, it was this college guy that had taken his nephew kid out on the boat, and he didn't know how to sail, and he didn't have a life jacket on, nor did he bring one out, and nor did the kid have one. Well, I had swam over with a life jacket, so I put it on the boy, and they were treading water, and the pouring waves were pounding over them and blowing wind all over. Their boat was completely flipped over, but I knew how to put all my weight on the keel of the centerboard and maneuver it so that the wind would pick up the sails and flip it back over. So I righted their boat for them. I gave them a quick sailing lesson, and I recommended that they head to shore, which they did. Well, I'm pretty sure that neither the college boy nor the elementary boy liked being rescued by a high school girl. The college kid later walked down the beach to bring us back our life jacket and thanked my dad for helping them. My dad? What? Oh well, David Hasselhoff probably never got thanked either. So it goes when you are part of Baywatch. Well, it was a rush. I loved it. I loved getting to dive in the water and help someone. Now, if my dad and I had not been out there that day, I don't know what would have happened to them. See, my dad, he never taught me how to rescue another boat, but he had taught me skills that I had been able to practice, and those skills were able to be used in a different context. Dad thought he was preparing me to keep me safe, but that preparation that he did ended up giving me confidence in my skill set so that I could be brave, so that I could have courage in the midst of a brand new situation that I had never experienced before. Isn't that what we want for our daughters? That they have the brave, they have the courage when they need it most. You know, some people wonder, is courage reserved for people running into burning buildings or just climbing things like Mount Everest? Brave deeds and heroic actions, is that what it's all about? No. You see, courage lies in every person, in every heart. The word courage is Latin for heart. Courage, well, it's a heart word. In its earliest forms, the word meant to speak your mind by telling all one's heart. Courage is found in small, everyday moments that make you inhale sharply and wipe your sweaty palms on your jeans, and you have butterflies competing at Olympic levels in your stomach, and you have this voice bombarding your brain saying, "You can't do it," and you do it anyway. That is courage. So what is the it? You do it anyway. What is the it for your girl? You fill in the blank. Try out for a new team, audition for a part, give a speech in front of a class, maybe even just raise her hand with a question. Talk to the new kid. Stand up for what is right. Make a decision that is different from her friends. Or even survive and thrive in the midst of this worldwide pandemic. Anything new is scary. Anything unfamiliar leaves us feeling caught off guard and unsure how we should navigate our next steps. It's all scary when it's new. Life takes courage. So why do we live with so much fear? And how do we get more courage? How do we face the unknown, the unpredictable, even the awful, and live with courage? What do courageous people have in common? Well, courageous people are intentional about how they live their lives. So let's talk about tween girls who show courage. What things are they intentional with in their lives? Well, we are going to look at 4 things that courageous people do and how you can be intentional with encouraging these traits in your own tween daughter. So the first thing that girls who are courageous do is reality check their thoughts and their self-talk so that they don't self-sabotage. I mean, you know this drill, right? The one where you talk yourself out of something. Well, courageous people don't talk themselves out of something. Instead, they talk themselves into doing hard things. This is something that we can teach our tween girls to do. We need to encourage self-talk that is positive with can-do language. Now, I have 4 kids who are 12 and under, all different personalities. Last summer, when my littlest was 5, we were at SeaWorld walking through the Polar Bear Antarctica exhibit. It's a bit chilly in there, and they have a giant ice wall. They have these big imprints of polar bear footprints on the floor. And as you walk through there are tunnels that the kids can crawl through. They turn the lights down low, and they even have bear noises playing. Well, my then 5-year-old daughter, Eden, was holding my hand. And as we walked through there, I could feel her hand tighten in mine. I could feel her fear. I held her hand, and all of a sudden I realized that she was saying something. So I leaned down to her level to listen to what she was saying, and she was talking to herself. She was saying over and over again, "You can do it, Eden. You can do it, Eden." She was talking her way through the scary bear exhibit. Oh yeah, that's my girl. She made it all the way through. You see, we need to be intentional about the self-talk that we fill our minds with. I mean, have you ever noticed what words your daughter uses when she talks to herself? I mean, this is a great conversation for us mamas to have with our girls. Ask your daughter what kinds of words she repeats to herself when she talks to herself. Better yet, have her write them out for you. And then you can practice with her, canceling out the negatives and replacing them with a positive statement. Even add her name to the statement and have her read it, have her say it, and talk to her about the power of repetition. Now, I have a great download for you that describes how to do this and gives you a template to practice positive self-talk to build your courage. You can download it for free at girltribenation.com/self-talk. As her mom, when you tell her that you believe in her, that goes such a long way. If your mama believes in you, and she knows that, it's a giant step towards her believing in herself. Hey, even us mamas have to reality check ourselves with this stuff, don't we? We must take every thought captive that runs through our head and check it against reality. Are we saying things that are true? Are we saying things that are positive? Are we saying things that are helpful? Are we saying things that build our courage? Sometimes we need to give ourselves a good pep talk in the mirror. I mean, your girl won't always have you with her every time she needs a pep talk to do something courageous. So we really need to talk about how to build courage with a good pep talk. Usually I like to do this in the mirror. Here's how it goes down. Stare at yourself in the mirror and you smile. And you say your name with some of these sentences. You can do this. You can do this hard thing. You can be brave. You can be courageous. It is better to try. It is better to take action. Something good could come from this. Something really good could come from this. I need to do this. I can do this. I will do this. I'm feeling more courageous just talking about this right now. Okay, here's the second thing that courageous tween girls do. They don't let fear drive their car. Yes, I know, it's a proverbial car since they're not driving yet. But they don't let fear run their life or drive their decisions. Mamas, you know this is true if you think of the courageous women that you know. Courageous people don't let fear drive the car. Now, that does not mean that we don't acknowledge our fears. I mean, they're real and they should be acknowledged. Things like, I'm really afraid of failing. I'm really afraid of being embarrassed. I'm afraid of not being liked. I'm afraid of doing things wrong. I mean, our fears should always have an opinion and a say in what is happening. But fear's proper place is buckled down tight in the back seat, along for the ride. It should never get to navigate or drive the car. Fear is this ugly thing that sneaks up on you and it can be so overwhelming. I mean, you feel like you're being eaten alive. Have you ever seen a Venus flytrap? They're amazing. It's this green plant that feeds on live flies. And they lay just waiting for the fly to get stuck and then they clamp onto it. Well, our job is to teach our girls to acknowledge what they are afraid of and then deprioritize it. It cannot be what leads our decisions for us or for how they are going to live their lives. Fear cannot be the loudest voice in their ears. We acknowledge fear and then we put it in the back seat. Okay, the third thing that courageous tween girls do is surround themselves with some fabulous, fierce friends who are encouraging, positive, reliable, honest, and show up for them when they need them most. Building a strong support community for our girls is so important. Now, I am actually a really big fan of helping our girls choose friends wisely. So we talk a lot about what kind of people make good friends. What attributes should we be looking for in friends? What are red flags that we should be careful to avoid in friends? We should be kind to everyone, regardless of who they are, what they believe. But we should choose our trusted friends, our trusted community wisely. Having a tribe around you, a girl tribe, can build your courage. When you have girlfriends cheering you on, it gives you a support system. Feeling supported by others is a huge stabilizing force for tween girls. That support builds emotional muscles that we can exercise in the form of courage. Now, the fourth thing that we are going to explore today is a great exercise that we can do with our tween girls to help build their courage. Here's the question we teach them to ask themselves. What is the worst that could happen? Yes, that's it. That's the question. What's the worst that could happen? I know, embarrassing yourself is really lame, but no one has ever actually died from embarrassment. Yes, I know, we wish we could, but usually the worst that can happen is that we're gonna miss out on something. Something that could be fun, something that could be amazing, something that could bring a whole lot more happy into our lives. That is worth being brave for. Using courage to pursue joy. Leaning into our brave with courage could even change things for the better. I remember when my girl was in 4th grade, right around 9 years old, I took her out for some froyo. And I told her that I loved her and I was so glad that she was my daughter. And I got up the courage to ask this hard question. Zoe, is there anything that I could be doing right now to be a better mom to you? I inhaled and I waited, hoping for the, no mom, you're awesome. But instead she looked right at me and said, yes mom, there is. Well, I waited for the bomb that she was going to drop, all the while not sure that I was strong enough to actually hear it. She said, Mom, would you please quit singing that wake-up song that you sing in the morning to get me out of bed? Whew. Well, yes, darling, I can handle that one. So I put in an alarm clock order the very next day. But that hard question is a really good one for us mamas to ask our tween girls regularly. It takes courage. It models courage. Alrighty, well today we have talked about 4 ways that we can build courage in our tween girls. First, we teach them to reality check their self-talk and keep it positive. The second is we don't let fear drive us. The third is we surround ourselves with a fabulous, fierce girl tribe. And the fourth is we learn to ask, what is the worst that could happen? Practicing these 4 things will help our tween girls build their courage. And courage is more important than confidence to do hard things. Okay, friends, here's to raising smart, brave, healthy girls with a whole lot more happy in their lives. As we help build courage in our daughters, it will serve them well for the rest of their lives. Now, don't forget to download the awesome free template that I've given you to help your tween develop more courage and control her self-talk. You can go to girltribenation.com/self-talk to access it. Alrighty, friends. Well, thank you so very much for joining me today at the Raising Amazing Tween Girls Show. We here at Girl Tribe Nation are all about resourcing moms of tween girls to grow a generation of young ladies to be smart, healthy, brave, and live with a whole lot more happy in their lives. It is amazing to think that building courage in our girls might even just build some courage in their mamas. Well, if you found today's episode helpful, it would mean so very much to me if you could share this episode with a friend, subscribe, and leave a comment. I would absolutely love to hear from you. Don't forget to check out our amazing puberty online class, Growing Up Girls for Tween Girls, at girltribenation.com/growingupgirl. Thanks again for joining me. I can't wait until next time. Bye for now.